Hi, it's the Love Guru Blaire. I am a spiritual teacher, intuitive heart healer, and I'm trained as a marriage and family therapist. And today I want to talk to you about taking back the power and balancing the power in all of your relationships. Now, tune in for this video because I am going to be taking this to a place that is going to blow your mind. I'm not going to be talking about the typical relationships. So just follow me on this journey. When we are children, we set up this pattern that we're very used to giving away our power when we get into a relationship because, hey, it's what you have to do when you're a child. You have to follow what your parents tell you to do. They're watching over you. They're making sure that you are safe. So what happens is this sets up kind of like a blueprint for the rest of our relationships. So then we go get into friendships and we get into partnerships, intimate partnerships. And in these relationships, we start giving away our power. Maybe we start compromising on things that we don't want to compromise on. We start looking past things that we don't like. That is like we start looking past bad behavior that maybe our partner is doing because, hey, this is part of being in partnership, right? We have to compromise. People throw in that word, and it's really so misused. So you see how these relationships are as we start giving away our power, and it happens in very subtle, manipulative ways. Well, this happens in all of our relationships. It has happened in our relationship with our government. And it has happened in our relationship with big corporations. And yes, this is what we're talking about today. So one example I'm going to start off with here is that years ago, the government started putting fluoride in our water. And maybe at the time they didn't know that fluoride was bad for our health. But now they know. There have been done a lot of studies that fluoride is not good for your teeth, that it is bad for your health, and it causes all these other problems. But yet, and if you don't believe me, you can Google this, okay? But yet they still put fluoride in our water. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? You have to ask yourself, why are they doing this if they know that it is bad for you? Why is the fluoride still going in our water? Next thing, let's take antibiotics in our food. If you are eating regular meat, let's say you go to the grocery store, you just pick up chicken or meat. Well, in the past, animals would get an antibiotic when they're sick, right? You're supposed to be getting antibiotics when you're sick only. But now what happens is big corporations, and yes, the government knows about this, puts antibiotics in the animal's feed. So rather than getting the antibiotic when they're sick, they're eating antibiotics all the time. And then what happens to you? Well, when you eat this food, these antibiotics go into your system. And they're not good for you. You don't want to be on medication when you're not supposed to be on it. What happens? Well, it causes problems in your body. It also builds up a resistance to when actually something is going wrong. You're going to have trouble finding antibiotics that are actually going to be helping you. So, no surprise, our society is getting sicker and sicker. Once again, the government knows about this, and this is still acceptable. They are still doing this. So again, we're talking about power. Uneven power in the relationships that we create. Something is wrong with this power paradigm that the American people and all people have with their governments. It is unbalanced. Let's take another example. In order to grow vegetables and fruits and vegetables, pesticides are sprayed on them. Well, pesticides are chemicals. They kill off bugs and pests. Well, what do you think that they do to your system? They are killing off parts of your system too. They are not good for your system. And again, there have been studies of this. We know. The government knows. Big corporations know. Pesticides are not good for humans. They're not good for our pets to be around. They're not good for humans. But yet, big corporations, not all of them, but big corporations and the government still allows this to take place. That pesticides are sprayed on our fruits and vegetables. Even though we know that this is toxic to our health, again, if you don't believe me, Google it. Do some research yourself and see. So there are other alternatives. There's organic ways of gardening that is much healthier. But just like I was saying in relationships, we start overlooking these things. Remember what I was talking about, how you do with a lover? You start overlooking bad behavior. You start giving away. It's a way that you're giving away your power. Well, we have been doing this for years with the government and these big corporations that have influence over the government and laws. So it is time for us to be balancing out the power, for us to be taking back our power, not only in our personal relationships, but in the relationship that we've developed with the government. Let me share some other things. There was this Batman massacre in this movie theater. And I know that this is where it gets a little controversial. There was the Sandy Hook thing too, the shooting at the school. And again, this is where things can get controversial. But let's follow through. Let's just hear me out. So this is another attempt for the government to be trying to get more control of its people, of you. What's their agenda? Well, let's look at what they were pushing after these things happened. They were pushing stricter gun laws. They were ultimately pushing that we're not allowed to have guns. Now, I know that this can get dicey. Hey, you don't believe in guns. They kill people. They're terrible. Bad people get guns. Blah, blah, blah. I know all these things. But if you look at our Constitution, that is one of the things that we are granted as American people, that we are allowed to bear arms. Why do you want to bear arms? Well, God forbid someone goes to break into your home or on your property and you want to be able to protect yourself, right? Or are you going to wait till the cops come whenever they come? So, again, I know that this is controversial, and I've looked at different sides of this, and I have totally changed my thoughts on ways that I used to be thinking. I see things differently. The other reason why we're allowed to have guns is, again, so that the government does not become more powerful than us. It's not that it's okay for them to have guns and not for us. There's supposed to be, in every relationship, there's supposed to be an even balance of power. Now, of course, sometimes it's going to be a little bit outweighed on one direction or the other, but it is up to us to keep these things in check. Next, we had Hurricane Sandy. Now, some people might say, well, this was an act of Mother Nature. But again, if you Google geoengineering, you will see that the government for years has been playing with the weather, making it rain, making it hurricane, making it stop hurricane, making it stop rain, and on and on. They have used this in combat. Now, you would say, why are they going to use this on American people? Why would they do these things to American people? The answer is to create fear with you. Because they know if you're in fear, you're going to want to give over more of your liberties. You're going to want to give over more of your power. Because when we're in fear, what's our human tendency? Right? Let's take it back to childhood. Mommy, Daddy, can you please take care of me? Please take care of me. So remember I said that this is the pattern that you create throughout your life. Well, this is what we have done with the government. We want them to take care of us. Something bad happens. Please help us. Now, this is a way that you're giving away your power. Let me talk about one other example. The Boston Marathon bombing. Another situation which I do believe that the government was involved in. Now, why would they do this? Again, let's look at what happened right after. Right after martial law was in effect. And what is that? That means that they can go into your homes, look around, do whatever they want, find some kind of evidence to get you in trouble. Now, we know they were looking for the terrorist. But do you want this police state? Do you want this state, do you want to be living in this country where the government tells you where you can and cannot go? Do you want them spying on you? Do you want them walking into your home and God forbid you get into trouble when you didn't even know that you were doing something wrong, when you're not doing anything to harm anybody else, but because they want to do what they want to do? We can't let these things happen anymore. As we're seeing these events are happening more and more to show us, because I made another video, that this is the era of truth, that secrets and lies are coming out. Now, what has happened here? What is the secret? What is the lie? Well, it is that we have been giving away too much of our power to the government. We have been letting them control us. And the truth is that this is a relationship like we have with anybody else. And that the power needs to be balanced. And it is time for us to pull back, to take back our power when it comes to our world, when it comes to our freedoms, when it comes to things that are happening in our lives. Because this is just an imbalance in power. That's all what it is. We have given too much of our power away, and now it is time to take it back. There are many more examples of things that have been going on in the world where we have had an imbalance of power with the government or big corporations. Just off the bat, I'll share one more. GMOs, genetically modified organisms. This is what companies are now mixing up in our food, combining different specimens. It's a complicated thing. You got to look it up. But they are tampering with Mother Nature. You don't want to fool around with Mother Nature. And then it's putting it into our food supply. Basically, any corn out there, you can't eat. So, you know, those tortilla chips, you can't eat them unless they're organic. Why? GMOs are bad for your health. People have been coming down with a lot of diseases, with a lot of problems, because these GMOs have been in it. Again, the government knows that GMOs are bad for our health, but they're putting it in there. You have to ask yourself, why is this going on? And then you have to say, how can I fix it? And you fix it by balancing out the power. You fix it by taking back your power. You fix it by getting educated and to be clearing away the fear that you have that prevents you from looking at the truth of what's going on here, that prevents you from standing in your power. Are you afraid to be powerful? Are you afraid to stand on your own? Are you afraid to take care of yourself? These are deep things to be looking at. And unfortunately, and also the exciting part, is that it needs to be looked at now. We need to rebalance this power. So I hope this video has given you something to think about. And I hope that you share it along and you comment and you make your own videos and you write your own blogs about this topic. And think about how you can help with this movement of taking back the power, for us, the people, to be taking back the power that has been unbalanced with the government. Thanks for listening. I wish you the best in love. Bye-bye.